Calleva, formerly Calleva Atrebatum, was an Iron Age oppidum and subsequently a town in the Roman province of Britannia and the civitas capital of the Atrebates tribe. Its ruins are now known as Silchester Roman Town and are beneath and to the west of the parish church of St. Mary the Virgin, which is just within the town wall and about 1 mile to the east of the modern village of Silchester, in the English county of Hampshire, close to the boundary with Berkshire.Reading is some 9 miles northeast and Basingstoke is 5 miles south. The Ordnance Survey grid reference is SU 639624. History. Prehistory. Evidence for the presence of a late Iron Age oppidum at Silchester is derived from numismatic evidence and archaeological excavations over the 20th century. Coins of the British Q series link Silchester with the seat of power of the Atrebates, and coins stamped with COMMIOS have been used to associate Calleva Atrebatum with the historical figure Commius, who is thought to have fled to Britain from Gaul. The late Iron Age oppidum was situated on the edge of a gravel plateau, underlying the subsequent Roman town. The inner earthwork, constructed c. 01 AD, enclosed an area of 32 hectares, and a more extensive series of earthworks were present in the wider area. Small areas of late Iron Age occupation have been uncovered on the south side of the inner earthwork and around the south gate. More detailed evidence for late Iron Age occupation was excavated below the Forum Basilica. Several roundhouses, wells and pits were present on a northeast-southwest alignment, dated to c. 25 BC to 15 BC. Subsequent occupation, dated to c. 15 BC AD 40-50, consisted of metalled streets, rubbish pits and palisaded enclosures. Imported Gallo-Belgic finewares, amphorae and iron and copper alloy brooches show that the settlement was high status. Also distinctive evidence for food was identified, including oyster shell, a large bricettage assemblage and sherds from amphorae which would have contained olive oil, fish sauce and wine. Further areas of late Iron Age occupation have been uncovered by the Insular IX Town Life project. Excavation of the late Iron Age phases have provided evidence for a substantial boundary ditch c. 4020 BC, a large rectangular hall c. 25 BC AD 10 and the laying out of lanes and new property divisions c. AD 10 40-50. Roman. After the Roman conquest of Britain in 43 AD, the settlement developed into the Roman town of Calleva Atrebatum. It was slightly larger, about 40 hectares, and was laid out along a distinctive street grid pattern. The town contained a number of public buildings and flourished until the early Anglo-Saxon period. A large mansio was situated in Insula 8, near the south gate, consisting of 3 wings arranged around a courtyard. Calleva was a major crossroads. The Devil's Highway connected it with the provincial capital Londinium. From Calleva, this road divided into routes to various other points west, including the road to Aquasulis, Ermenway to Glevum, and the portway to Sorviadunum. Medieval Silchester was finally abandoned in the 5th to 7th century, which is unusually late compared to other deserted Roman settlements. Ford identifies the site with the Care Solemian of Nennius's list of the 28 cities of sub-Roman Britain. Most Roman towns in Britain continued to exist after the end of the Roman era, and consequently the remains underlay the more recent successes, which are often still major population centres. There is a suggestion that the Saxons deliberately avoided Calleva after it was abandoned, preferring to maintain their existing centres at Winchester and Dorchester. There was a gap of perhaps a century before the twin Saxon towns of Basing and Reading were founded on rivers either side of Calleva. As a consequence, Calleva has been subject to relatively benign neglect for most of the last 2 millennia. Modern excavation, The earthworks and, for much of the circumference, the ruined walls are still visible. The remains of the amphitheatre, added about AD 70 to 80 and situated outside the city walls, can also be clearly seen. The area inside the walls is now largely farmland with no visible distinguishing features other than the enclosing earthworks and walls. With a tiny medieval church in one corner, there is a spring that emanates from inside the walls, in the vicinity of the original baths, and which flows southeastwards where it joins Silchester Brook. Calleva was partially excavated by the Society of Antiquaries of London between 1890 and 1909, and this excavation provided valuable information about civic life and daily life in the first centuries of the Common Era, as well as a map of the town. Whilst the excavation techniques of the time were adequate to deal with buildings with stone foundations, work in other towns of Roman Britain has revealed that timber construction predominated in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD, and the early excavations were not capable of recovering evidence of these buildings. This excavation was believed to have destroyed evidence that might have been analyzed with current technology and practices, as archaeological study of this kind can be a destructive process. The excavation of Calleva is frequently mentioned as an example of why complete excavation should not be performed. Ollie Cotton carried out excavations on the defences from 1938–39. Since the 1970s, Michael Fulford and the University of Reading have undertaken several excavations on the town walls, amphitheatre and the Forum Basilica, which has revealed remarkably good preservation of items from both the Iron Age and early Roman occupations. From 1997 to 2014, the Town Life Project has undertaken excavation of the northeastern area of Insula X. Results of the late Roman and mid-Roman phases have been published. In 2013, excavations began in Insula 3, investigating a structure identified by the Victorian excavations as a bathhouse. A wingless Roman eagle discovered in excavations at the Basilica in 1866 was part of the inspiration for Rosemary Sutcliffe's The Eagle of the Nine. The Museum of Reading, which houses the Silchester Eagle, states that it is not a legionary eagle but has been immortalized as such by Rosemary Sutcliffe. Quote, "It may originally have formed part of a Jupiter statue in the Forum of the Roman town. Access, now primarily owned by Hampshire County Council and managed by English Heritage. The site of Calleva is open to the public during daylight hours, 7 days a week and without charge. The full circumference of the walls is accessible, as is the amphitheatre. The interior is farmed and, with the exception of the church and a single track that bisects the interior, inaccessible. Current excavations are sometimes open for visitors, and occasional organized open days are held. See the Reading University website for details. The Museum of Reading in Reading Town Hall has a gallery devoted to Calleva, displaying many archaeological finds from the various excavations.